Go away. I first heard about Britney when a fellow volunteer called me. She'd just been bitten by a dog up in the jungle that had lots of puppies with her, and I hopped on the moped and went up to have a look. Sure enough, I found Britney. She was underneath a digger. And I could see that she had 5 puppies with her, like running beside her. But I could also see that she was very aggressive. So I obviously parked about 100 yards away and just sort of looked over at the situation and was trying to figure it out. And the best I could do was get a big stick. And I kind of slowly approached, but she was vicious. I know, it's hard. It's hard. I'm gonna back off now, you're all fed. She was straight away on the offensive, showing her teeth, gritting them, really like just going for me, full stop. I mean, she'd bitten one person and she was pretty intent on biting me. I could see by looking at her puppies that they were in a terrible state. They had ears absolutely covered in ticks. I mean, I've never seen as many ticks in my life, hundreds of ticks. This is just like nothing I've ever seen before, doggies. I've never seen anything like this before. I don't even know how to start. Britney herself had a padlock around her neck, and then there was just this aggressiveness, and they obviously all looked hungry and malnourished, and so they'd been dumped there. And try and get some help. I don't know how to target this or how to do this, but I'll help you. So what I had to do was basically try and build up their trust. So really slowly, like I would leave some food and just drive off and then try and get a bit closer. And the biggest problem was I needed to get some medicine into the dogs, especially the puppies, while I assessed the situation. So what I had to do was bring a couple of friends, and we actually stood up in the back of the truck and with the stick slowly tried to isolate the puppies one by one and sort of steal them, for want of a better word, away from Britney so as we could treat them. So we took them into the truck and treated them for their, their ticks and their fleas, etc. But then I also needed to get medicine to Britney, who at this stage was definitely still trying to attack me, but it had kind of calmed down a little bit. She respected the stick. I never obviously had to hit her, but she knew that she couldn't get closer than the stick. And I think over the course of 2 days, she did realise that I was there to help her, and I was actually able to throw her a tablet. I had to isolate the puppies and throw her a tablet because I knew she needed to get rid of the fleas and the ticks as well. I knew I needed to get her out of there because she was going to get poisoned or badly treated by some locals. There'd been incidents in the area. But it took, over the course of about a week, I was finally able to sort of corner Britney and her puppies, and eventually caught her with a lot of difficulty and some friends. And once we got her to the vet, things actually changed quite a lot. The padlock came off her. That was a very satisfying moment, and we were able to treat all the puppies, get them vaccinated, etc. Britney wouldn't go near anybody except for me, so she latched on to me, and I suppose she saw me as the only person who wasn't a threat ever in her life. The vets, we obviously had to use a muzzle. We got her sterilised straight away and recovered her sort of bloods and the issues that she had. So she stayed in the vet for 2 weeks, and then she came home with me, and it was an incredibly long process. In total, it actually took 6 months, but the first 2 weeks were horrific. She would attack my other dogs, Snoop and Jumbo. She would lash out at people. She actually bit another volunteer I was trying to slowly introduce to her, and she bit him 3 times on the leg. It was a really stressful time, but slowly, over a lot of patience and a lot of time, I figured out how to sort of calm her down and sort of bring her back to reality a little bit, and show her that the world wasn't completely against her. Love it. Catch him, Britney, come on, you can get him. Oh, what a nice pair you two are, aren't you? Go on, Britney. I think one of the hardest things is, if I'm really honest, Britney is a really hard dog and has been a hard dog to manage. Because of her nature, she couldn't go and live anywhere. She couldn't be put in a shelter with other dogs. She had to be on her own, and I had to watch her. I had to leave her on a lead in my own house. If a lot of people have ended up with tricky dogs to manage, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it's really emotionally draining, and there's so many times where I wanted to give up. It's really tough managing a dog that has problem behavior. You feel like giving up, and I think a lot of people do give up, and I won't lie, I very many times felt like giving up, but you have to stick at it. She has a little switch that sometimes something will just flip from her past that she just can't forget. That she, you know, when she was fighting or when she was being abused, it's always there. And that's when sometimes she does let herself down. But helping her work through that is incredibly tough. But it is rewarding to see her on days when she's running up the hill, to see her happily playing with other dogs. There's a place for Britney in this world, and I'm happy to look after her at the moment and try and widen her friend base and the things that she can do and the places she can go. And it's tough. I think people who have problem dogs will relate to that. But patience, that really is the only answer. Freedom, Britney! Freedom, freedom, freedom! Wow, you're so fast! You're so fast!